Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. Today I think I'm going to start in on some of the planting of the plants that we got the other day when we went shopping with my mom and my son. I'm not going to do a big mass planting of everything, but I kind of wanted to capture it as I go, and then I'll make a video putting together the planting projects. We're going to have some hot weather tomorrow, hotter than today. Today is just perfectly pleasant out. Right now it's probably, I don't know, 65, and it's only supposed to get up to 80, so it's a nice day just to get a few of the plants in the ground. Tomorrow it's supposed to be up in the 90s, so I'll skip tomorrow and then start in the next day probably, as we're gonna get into just a nice stretch of low 80s, mid 70s for the next 10 days. So hopefully that continues, and hopefully the weather sticks with what it said it's gonna do. But anyway, I just had this one spot that I really wanted to get started on, this pot here on our side patio. So I am going to flip you around and show you the plants that I'm going to be using. Okay, so we are going to be starting here with this little cement planter. I do really like the planting that is in it. There's a fern, I don't remember the variety. And then this little spring blooming flower. Again, I'll try to find the name of it and I'll put it on the screen. The issue that I have with it, even though it is really sweet, is that it really does just blend in with the background. And, you know, well, that's totally fine, but I will give the fern to my mom, and then I'll baby these guys for a little while in pots, and then I'll probably plant them out pretty soon. But what I'm going to be replacing that with are these beauties. I was so excited to find them when we went to Bauman Farms the other day. Rockapulco Rose, part shade to shade, which I don't know about you, but I don't find too many plants, that annuals specifically, that really want a lot of shade and that put on such beautiful color. These blooms are just so delicate and sweet. I'm a little nervous about having it right here on the edge of the patio, just because my dogs frequent this spot and tails wag, and unfortunately that's already happened this morning. We lost a little bud. So hopefully they're okay with it. Time will tell, but it's worth a try for me. And so we're gonna go ahead and get these plants out. Let's plant this spring, so the soil in there is pretty good, but we'll see if we need to top it up a bit. And then just for ease of cleanup, I have my tarp here. I will be adding in some slow release fertilizer and my last little bit of biotone. plants down and quite a few to go, but that is a sweet way to start. You can see now how those are visible against the backdrop there, and just a really sweet pop of color in this shaded patio. All right, I'm ready to do some more planting. We're on the back patio right now, and I was just kind of waiting for it to get into shade actually so that I could be a little bit more comfortable and you could see a little better. But I'm going to be planting into a pot that has a Clematis armandii in it and violas in it. They're still blooming, but they're really super leggy, and so rather than cutting them back and letting them try to reflush, I'm gonna pull those out and I'm gonna plant in some heliotrope. So the heliotrope I got it's called Fragrant Delight, and I've not grown it before. It says that it can take full to partial sun. This spot is right next to a shade garden, but it does get a fair amount of morning sun to right about noonish, well, probably about like 1:30 or so it gets sun. So hopefully these plants will be happy here. I'm really hoping that they are, because well, they're beautiful, and also they're very fragrant, and that would be fantastic here on our back patio. You can see where we are. And yeah, so I'll turn you around and just show you the heliotrope and show you the spot where we're working. Okay, so here is the pot. Here is the clematis that is growing up. You can see the violas here. They do have some pretty blooms on them still, but we are in the middle of July and violas really aren't a hot weathered plant. So I'll take those out, and then here are the heliotrope that I'll be planting in. I really especially love the foliage. I mean, the flower is beautiful and smells good, but the foliage is especially attractive to me because it is so rich and dark and just healthy looking. So I'm gonna pull out the violas and get these guys planted. They don't look like too much right now because I did pinch them back. As you can see right here, there was a little node starting right there. I just felt like they were getting a little bit tall, a little bit, you know, a little bit spindly. So I figured, well, now's a good time to do that and see if that can encourage a bit fuller growth on those. I did add in some biotone and some slow release fertilizer for those. And also I did take out the nepeta. So I'm trying to remember where this pot ever even was I thought I put in new soil, so I don't really know how enough of it would have seeded in there, but it did, so that's kind of strange. Well, it's the same day. I'm still plugging away at these plantings just as the sun moves and areas get into shade, so I might as well just finish what I've started today. So I think I'm gonna just get in all of the annuals that I got the other day at the different nurseries that I went to with my mom and Connor. So right now where we're at, I'm actually doing a replanting of pot that I planted in one of my very first videos. I did Supertunia Bordeaux in it, and then unfortunately we went on vacation and we got the hot weather and the plants just, I don't know. I mean, possibly I could have cut them all the way back and babied them and watered them and perhaps they would have survived. But if you remember that video, they were big when I got them. They were like last chance ones at a nursery that's just down the street from my house. So they were big, and I don't know. They were beautiful, but they didn't make it. So I dug them out, and I'm going to put in some verbena, and it is the sparkling amethyst, but it is not the Proven Winners Superbena. So I don't know how it works with them. I don't know how it can have the same name and be a verbena, this one, and then also the Proven Winners. I'm not sure if it's actually the same one that they carry, but it's just, you know, I don't know. All that to say is this is a verbena. It is sparkling amethyst, but it is, it's not the Proven Winners kind. So I'm just gonna turn you around and show it to you, and then we're gonna get it into the pot. Here we are in the back garden. This pot is pretty large and it has a Limelight Standard in it. And like I said, I had planted the 2 Supertunia Bordeaux in it, which this one actually is just right down in the spot where the Bordeaux had been. So I'm just going to plant those in. There's 4 there, and I'm hoping, even though verbena is known to spread out, I'm hoping that I do keep some in here that are, you know, standing a bit upright, because then I'll be able to see it better. I think I'm also going to cut this spirea down even a little bit more so that I can see it, the pot, even better from inside the house, because this is kind of the angle that I would see it from. Bit of sunlight left here. This area I also had violas, cut those back. See a little bit of new growth there, but I'm gonna plant in this Angelface Wedgwood blue, although, you know, it's purple. It's violet. So these, I just have 4 of them. I'm gonna plant them right along this edge here, and then I'll probably come in with some mulch to cover up the area, clean it up a little bit, and tidy, make it look a little bit more tidy. And I'm also gonna be using my handy little auger. I don't have a big, huge one. I know that those are probably so incredibly handy, and I've considered getting one. Oh, Bella didn't like that. I've considered getting one many times, but each time I look at the price, I think of how many plants I could get for that amount of money, and I keep talking myself out of it. So I use this one. Even for these pots, it's going to be the perfect size, but for even larger pots, I sometimes just rough up the ground with the auger, and that really helps just to break up the soil and make planting a little easier. So well, let's get these ones in the ground. With the Angelonia in the ground. Just kind of a straight line of flowers. And I know everybody's probably thinking, oh, those are spaced too close together, and you didn't even look at the spacing, but I mean, I don't care. They'll be fine. They won't grow. Honestly, in my gardens, annuals rarely grow as large as they can, because I'm not great at remembering to fertilize them, and I'm not great at watering them every day. So they just do the best that they can, and that is fine by me. So if these grow together and create a little wall here, that would be fantastic. If they stayed this size and just kept blooming, that would be fine too. So anyway, these are sweet little flowers, and I'm excited to have them here in this spot. And I have the little area mulched and the spent violas covered up. All right, on to the next and I think final spot for this evening. All right, I'm gonna go for it and plant up these last few annuals that I have. They are 3 Mini Vista White, and they're gonna coordinate with the ones that are across the yard, that just across this little grass area. I'm gonna get these last 3 in the ground, and we'll be done for the day. Haven't watered them in yet, but you can see what I just planted here, which I thought was Mini Vista White, but the tag said Supertunia Vista Snowdrift, which means these have the potential to get really big. So we shall see what they will do. Right along here though, you can see this really large lavender is kinda gooky on the bottom. It's kind of growing weird. I am entertaining the idea of cutting into that, right where you can see that opening, just kind of cutting it back right there and getting a few more of the actual Mini Vista White, because I know I saw them there at Bauman Farms. I just don't know how I grabbed the wrong ones. But anyway, planting those alongside the edge here. I think that would look really pretty, because right across from our dying out lawn is the actual Mini Vista White. So I think that would look really pretty over here in front of the lavender to coincide with those. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today throughout the day while I got some planting done. Really didn't expect to get all that done today, but just when it's just a few annuals, I guess it's really not that overwhelming. Just kind of got to chase the shade, really. So yeah, I feel a little bad for these plants, because when I plant at this time of the year, sometimes they really have to work hard. But I am going to commit. I'm going to work hard to watering them, giving them the best chance that they can have to grow here. I started them all with some biotone and added in also the slow release fertilizer, and they all have mulch around them, and hopefully the fact that I planted them in a video will help me to really stay accountable for them. So much easier to plant annuals earlier on in the summer, well, late in the spring really for me, so they can get established from the rain. But not so lucky for these ones. They're getting planted in kind of a rough time of the season, but I'll stay on it. I'll water them all, and I'll keep you posted on how they're doing. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.